Welcome back to the cosasverdes altcoin crypto trading show. This is Tim, and returning viewers, go ahead and start this off. Smash that like for me. Returning viewers or new viewers, don't do that quite yet. Let me tell you what this channel is about before you dig into it, and then by the end of the video, you can decide if this is your cup of tea or not. So most of the crypto YouTube channels out there are fundamental and news based. So what this type of channel does is I supplement the efforts that you're putting into your time investment into those channels by giving you a better idea of your statistical likelihood of buying and selling at decent times above and beyond your fundamental work. So for example, if you see great fundamental news about Solana, let's say 2 months ago, that would have been a great lead. It's gone on a run. But this channel would tell you it's about out of steam at this point, similar to my last video if you want to go check that out, and you'll know when to start taking profits. So this type of channel, my channel, helps supplement altcoin investors so you can get more crypto by selling a little bit of crypto and then buying back later. So that's what this channel does, and a lot of this is based off of 20 and 10 bag theory, something that I came up with. It's in my library section. For new viewers, if a lot of the content here doesn't make sense to you, like weekly 10 EMA, 4-hour 21 EMA, you might want to go stop this video, check out my library section, just watch 2 videos: how to set up a chart, how does he set up his chart, and what are EMAs, and then your crypto journey will be much more profitable. So no time to waste. Before we get going here, if everybody could just stop, drop, and if you haven't taken time to hit that like, try it out for me, and leave me a comment if you want to go gung ho and really help out the algo. A lot of times, if you have questions, I do respond fairly frequently on YouTube as well for new viewers. So no time to waste. Let's turn off that annoying sign and let's get after it. So this is going to be a MULTIVAC Verasity Trias video, and I want to be very clear. I am staring at Bitcoin first for one reason. The analysis depends on price staying above the weekly 10 EMA. If a week closes below here, everything I'm about to say will be invalidated. So instead of making, 10 different probabilities of how price might move on altcoins based off if Bitcoin goes sideways, if Bitcoin goes up, if Bitcoin goes down, I'm simply going to make an analysis on the idea that Bitcoin in the near future does not close a weekly candle below this red line, which is the weekly 10 EMA. Okay, so, and if it does, then just know that I did not make an analysis based on that type of Bitcoin price action. Rather, what I'm about to say in this video is only related to sideways then upish movement, okay? Or just up movement too. But I think sideways and up for the next 4 weeks is very likely. So that is going to be the basis upon which I'm making all analysis. Hopefully I'm super clear with that, because some of the comments that I read makes it obvious that that is not getting through to everybody. All right, so here we go. Let's start off with veracity. I think these downside targets are out of play. Get rid of that stuff. I'm going to go to the 2-day chart, zoom out. I haven't looked at Veracity's chart in a while. Okay, so the last time I looked at Veracity, I was thinking late September, Veracity will break above these all-time highs. That still looks like a pretty good guess for a midterm type of analysis. Veracity's triangle has grown, so I was thinking it would either move in a triangle or in a horizontal. So it's more playing, honestly, it's more doing something like all right, so since Veracity's triangle looks like it's grown, I think this might be the earliest it would break out. I would actually say between 60% full triangle and 80% full triangle. So I would say till mid-October. So I'm going to update my analysis. This would be the early point. So I might do something like this. Say there. Something to that effect. And late September to mid-October. All right, so that's going to be your midterm analysis, but let's dive into these charts here. Let's see what the EMAs are doing. So right now the 12-hour chart, the 55 and the 89 are in play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in time and see how price has played around with those lines. It honestly looks most similar to this. So this is the only other time in veracity history that I'm seeing where both blue and purple had a positive slope. They were fairly close together, and price was playing around. The dips were playing around between them. So this is a really healthy consolidation. Will it break down? I'm not saying that because this was when Bitcoin took a dip before its final move up. I don't think it'll replicate that, but in terms of when it'll break above a horizontal, it might just keep steps stoning until the 12-hour 55 specifically squeezes it out. So let's see if that aligns with my guess, because it absolutely might not. I'm on a different time frame. I might have a totally different guess. So let's actually pick the 89. If the 89 were to stay up in a positive slope, and I'll make this dash so you can know that it's an EMA. And then the 55, but I think it would be the 55 that would squeeze it out, or maybe even the 21, really. That does align. Okay, yep, because the 12-hour 55 squeeze, since it's a bigger, fairly, it's a midterm time frame, but a bigger EMA, it would probably squeeze up before that because it would probably be more like the daily 10 and the daily 10 EMA and the 12-hour 21 EMA squeeze and price up, which those are typically at almost exactly the same level, 12-hour because it's half the time frame of the day, but the 21 is twice as big roughly as the 10, so they're almost always in line. So you'll have your 10 squeeze it up here. So honestly, yeah, mid October might be a better guess than late September. So I would put a box of a breakout of all time highs around that point. So and honestly, I don't see a lot of reason for downside if Bitcoin doesn't go down. I don't see this breaking down. It's extreme. Now, if Bitcoin breaks down, yeah, this will break down too. Absolutely. But if Bitcoin stays closing weekly candles above the weekly 10 EMA, which is why if you're an altcoin person, you need to follow Bitcoin as well. And so I make Bitcoin channel or Bitcoin videos regularly because of that, right? So kind of a one-stop shop type of channel if you follow the coins that I follow here, altcoins. But this looks like it has no reason to break down. It's looking pretty good. So let's go to the daily chart, see what's happening there. Well above its 55. So it looks like the daily 21 is what's happening here. 21 is the yellow one. Oof. All right. So in order for this to happen, in terms of so let me take off price so you can see what's happening with these. So if those two cross, that's usually bad. However, sometimes you have what's called a fake out cross where you have the red come up like this, and it goes like to that effect, and it won't make sense for new viewers until I draw the other line. Then the yellow line is under it. They barely cross, right? And then right as they cross, as it looks like it's getting ready to be bearish, then price screams up and this comes right back above the 21. And, usually when I forecast as this happening, I usually say squeep. So usually the EMAs will go squeep and it won't it'll break below or actually skim right above it. So sometimes the 10 will skim right above it. And what that is it's just healthy consolidation. I mean sideways movement, not going up, not going down. So these converge. It's that simple, and that's why it's so common of a play. But you can see it with just these lines. So honestly, I think that's getting ready to happen. Either you'll barely like you'll get a low sweep, or you'll get a normal sweep where it actually stays above barely. That looks like what's going to happen. So if that ends up happening, would the 10 in that assessment have squeeze price up above all time highs in this box? So you say squeeze, and it would. So yeah, a lot of things are aligning for that box. Late September to mid October is when I think you're going to break all time highs. And if Bitcoin doesn't go down, nothing in the charts of Verasity is saying Verasity to go down. So this is a pretty simple analysis here. You're just going to have to get some healthy accumulation and stair step up. And hopefully, if you go to the 12-hour chart, what you're hoping does not happen, if you put on the 89 EMA, which I strongly recommend, so if you're using the 12-hour chart, which honestly, 12-hour charts are awesome. So Verasity right now is following the 55 and the 89. You might just use the 12-hour chart on there, and as long as it's above the purple, even a tiny wick below is okay, but it closes the 12-hour candle above, you're still okay, and you're on trajectory to break out in mid-October as long as you stay above the 12-hour 89 on a closing candle basis of the 12-hour. So, and if you keep wicking down here, that's great. Or wicking down between, that's even stronger. And if you start actually getting away from here and not even wicking down to 55, that means you're gaining steam and you might break out earlier in that box, right? As opposed to later in that box. So the 12-hour chart with the 55 and the 89 will give you an idea to be able to hone in as long as Bitcoin stays sideways or strong, sideways and up or up. As long as that happens, if you see Verasity pulling away, you'll be able to time this a little bit better in terms of a breakout. Okay, so but downside movement, if Bitcoin doesn't go down, I don't see why this would. Let me put on some indicators here. Yeah, sideways for a little bit longer. The 12-hour RSI right in the red line and then breaking out. That's what it does a whole bunch. It has a strong history of just bouncing off that red line, and it's almost there. And price really doesn't have to go down very much. That would just be wicking one or two more times between the purple and the blue EMAs on the 12-hour. So uh, I don't. Let me look at the daily here. The daily Stokes look like they might want to reject the bearish zone and curl back up. That's a maybe. What are they doing on the 12? They are, yep. So actually, this is good. So kind of like looking at this as bearish E, neutral bearish. It's staying above and using as support. So this looks like there's more. Even though there's not a lot of buyer sell pressure right now, it's more of a okay, who's going to move first? It looks like the buyers do have more power right now. So those do confirm my suspicion based structurally in EMAs that it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of risk for downside if Bitcoin stays looking okay and healthy. So that is Verasity. Let's move on to Trias. I'm going to start off with Trias versus Bitcoin. Okay, the first thing I notice is that the Stokes are really so they've filled up their gas tank, and what I mean by that is the 4-hour and the 12. So the 4-hour likes when it resets, it likes to be below this white line for roughly a 4 to 6 day period, right? And the daily, if it comes down here, it only needs to dip for like a half a day or one day. The 12-hour needs to be in here for usually for about 2 days at least in order to fill up its gas tank in order to get enough push. So this looks like well more than 2 days. Um, 18 days. Like this, Trias's gas tank is pretty full. Let's see if you have any bullish divergence. So you have a lower low on RSI. So a series of lower lows on RSI. Now, if I flip the price and you have a series of higher lows, that would be kind of like a mid grade bullish divergence. And you're actually you have a horizontal range. So it might be a hint of bullish divergence because this low here is lower than that low there technically. But it just looks like the gas tank's full. I don't see a whole lot of divergence here. It looks like just really healthy consolidation to power it up for its next move. Some people might call this a cup and handle. You could justify that potentially. I don't know the definitions. I don't know if the cup technically has to come all the way up to the beginning of the cup, right? Because this would be a lopsided cup, like one made out of clay that a 5-year-old, like, what the hell can you bring this home to your mom? And I was like, get that cup out of my face, right? So that's a pretty bad cup. But let's look at some EMAs. Let's see what's holding this up. Just structurally looking at this, it looks like it could consolidate until early November. I think that, so if Bitcoin does not break down below the weekly 10, right? So under that premise, I would call this form of consolidation most boring case. Worst case, if Bitcoin breaks down, this will break down below this origin line, and that would be bad. I could see this consolidating through October, especially if Bitcoin does. This could consolidate for quite some time. And the thing is, though, if you come up to the top of this, right? This is versus Bitcoin. So if you have a 40% move versus Bitcoin and Bitcoin's going up, that means versus USD, this is flying, right? So that's not bad. Consolidating versus Bitcoin on the Bitcoin chart is actually good because that's a 40% range. That's some pretty big US dollar price movement. Even if Bitcoin stays sideways, a 40% move is 40% move. If Bitcoin's a stable coin. But the US dollar chart is kind of telling me that this will move up to the top of that range on the Bitcoin pairing because it looks like it doesn't have room to go down. As stupid as that might sound, I mean, it sounds stupid, but that's what this chart is telling me. I just can't see this going down much farther. Now, so a couple coins that I follow and I do own, the coin I'm getting ready to show up, just to show an example. Not that I'm going to do idea as analysis. So my bottom trend line, bottom origin line for idea was this. So I actually had to add like four of them, right? So that could easily happen on trias. It very, very, very easily could. However, with all of the exposure that this is now getting on YouTube and Reddit and all that stuff, I think this bottom trend line might be a killer time to get interested in Trias Pokemon cards. Um, this chart actually is telling me, I don't know, it's telling me that people will look back at this moment and say, dang it, why didn't I get more? However, this is not financial advice. I do hold a little bit of Trias. Um, I will the Trias that I have right now, I'll probably take profits on 50% of it after a good scream. And I think I already have my order set, and I think I already shared that with my community as well. Hold me to that, community. If I didn't share that, then you need to have me do that. But I'm pretty sure I did. But I might have done it for a different coin like Polk or something. But and then the other half I'll just hold through the bull run. So that is my position on Trias. I'm not gonna, be dumping on anybody, nor do I have enough to dump at all. I don't even think I can move this market if I did anything now. So the amount that I have now, I bet I could not make it even close like a 4 hour candle below here. So I'm not a market mover for this, so don't worry about me as a YouTuber being into this and talking about it. But I do own it. I want to be very specific about that. But this chart is screaming, pick up your Trias Pokemon cards and go attack your other Pokemon with this one. This looks pretty good. So what might happen on the short-term time frame of Trias is that you get a squeeze play. There's probably an EMA here too that's going to squeeze it, but you're going to have to be squeezed above this line. That's when buyers are going to step in, is when Trias breaks above that line. And in order to get buyers confident enough to do that, something's got to squeeze it. So since I pretty much invented origin lines, right? Um, Not everybody's going to be looking at that. So you're probably going to find an EMA there that's going to squeeze it out. So it might be the daily 10. So this is doing what might be end up being a squeak play. All right, just like the other coin, honestly, that we did, Veracity. Veracity might end up doing something like actually this did a double sweep, right? So it actually skimmed above, then it's skimming below, and I think it's going to come up and push. I think it'll squeeze price out. Either yeah, that is looking pretty likely because price is just going to keep going like here, and then the 10 will dip under it, come up like that. So when Trias will break out is going to be early to mid October, and it could get a good pop. So I would just call that, yeah, early to mid October. So I'm going to put that up there and leave it here. Honestly, if Bitcoin stays sideways or better, I I don't know. I would hate to say this twice. I don't know if I'm being too biased here bullishly. So I want to preface what I'm stating on these two coins. It's when you hear the phrases like everybody get rich, like which is what everybody in Hex thinks, which technically at this point they are, but after a certain point that becomes dangerous, and then only the people in it early, get that and that sort of investment. Nothing wrong with Hex. I'm not honestly my biggest regret in crypto is not buying Hex. Yeah, and I posted that on Twitter. So definitely not saying anything bad about Hex. However, Hex is pretty heated right now, and I have been seeing everybody rich on Hex posts. That sort of thing is kind of what I'm saying right now. It scares me. But the charts are telling me to say it, and it looks like there doesn't seem to be a lot of downside potential for Trias with the one basis that Bitcoin stays sideways or slightly better. I don't see it. I think it's going to fill out this triangle and it's going to move up to the top of it. Yeah, I mean, you could get a scare down here, something like that. So draw another line down to $6, but that's about as deep as I could see it dipping there. Yeah, I'm only seeing upside for this with the premise that Bitcoin stays sideways or better. Now, where will it scream up to? You got a lot of horizontals here. We'll cover that then. I don't want to make guesses about that, but just guesses in terms of when this will break out. It honestly aligns when I think Bitcoin could break out too. So a lot of the market's charging up, or it's charging its battery right now. Um, wow, I don't think I've ever had analysis two in a row where I said I don't see downside potential if Bitcoin stays holding. Um, but that's what I got. I don't see anything else. It's just all compressed, and it doesn't look like it can go down more. So, all right, let's go to MTV Multivac. Did I move it on accident? I must have accidentally deleted it or dragged it somewhere. Okay, well, here we go. Make sure it's in the right spot for next time, Timothy. Whew. This one might make me a liar. I was thinking it's going to gravitate towards this channel. It might use it as support. Yeah, you got the. So honestly, multivac might stay stronger than what I was thinking. That's a really good reaction. So you have the daily 21 support and the closures, and it's pretty parallel with this line I got here. So it might use, instead of dipping down back into this trading channel, which was very popular trading channel for price action on MTV earlier, it might use it as support, which now you won't really know until it price can start closing candles above the daily 10. So what could easily happen? It looks like it's support, but you can't stay above, then it breaks it, then it falls down into it. And then what ends up happening is on this coin as well, you'll get a SCOWEET play, and then when it breaks out of that, it'll probably all align with what mid October too. A lot of the market is pointing to mid October for a resolution to the upside or a resolution, but I would say upside. So let's play this out and see if my analysis lines up with itself. So you get a SCOWEET play and that, make that red. Actually, let's do it like this. That looks sloppy. All right, so the dash lines mean it's not price action, rather, it's an EMA. And would that align with breaking out of a horizontal around mid October or early October? Holy cow, October 1st and early October. Um, wow. Honestly, folks, the altcoin market is telling me that things are going to heat up within a few weeks. There are just so many signs. something like that. And this probably wouldn't go up so aggressively. Probably be more like that. Let's keep those there, see how that works. And then pointing towards, yep, early October, because it'll squeeze out before, right? So price, in order for this EMA to cross like that, that means price breaks above before that point. So before that point, with 1, 2, maybe 3 days, October 4th, early October. So this might be an earlier mover in terms of breakouts. This might not wait for Bitcoin to really get dirty and nasty to the upside. This might front run Bitcoin, is what this is saying potentially. Now, so if that happens, that would mean that price, in order for the red to go below the yellow, that means price will come into this trading channel. So I would say, even in the downside potential, I would still say the upside is going to happen early October. And it might stay stronger than what I'm saying, right? Because it kind of looks like the daily 21 might hold it up, which means the red line will not go below the yellow line, and therefore it will break out of this line earlier. So if the 10 EMA just goes like this and price gets above it, it's going to break out before October 1st. Only a few days earlier, most likely, but maybe a week earlier. But honestly, I think this is looking pretty good. It's pretty healthy price movement. Now let's look at let me measure out from a percentage standpoint. Make sure I'm not missing anything. So broke out of that bottom there. Went up 5x. How much did she correct? If I can give MTV a feminine pronoun. Did we get at least a 40% correction? Come on now. Oh, you got the full 50. Yeah. All right. Well, yes. So that can happen. Yeah, with a 500% run, you do need a quick dip down in the 45 to 50% correction, and it honestly nailed it. So I told you, rule of thumbs work. My rule of thumbs for this just works, people. I don't know why, but look, watch. Doesn't feel like it had a 50% correction, but look at that. 500% move up, 50% correction, rule of thumb. That's exactly how I say it too. It just happens. I don't know why. So could you have bought this only if you had your limit buys down there? Or you were staring at it in the 15 minutes it dipped down? It didn't stay there very long. Look at that day. It's a wick. It went down and screamed right back up. Yeah, so I am seeing fairly likely tiny bit of downside potential for MTV. So under current price, I think I could see it come. So it won't go straight down to that line. It'll do it slowly, maybe to here. I could see as much as a 30% correction from current actual price of right now, right? Um, Breaks down, boom, boom, wicks down, comes right back up, gets above, squeezes out. I would actually have to extend these. I don't think that would happen that fast. So this would be more like mid-October. That did not align. Something to that effect. So you still get that little crisscross there, right? The squeak play. And so that would put you middle October. Yeah, it could break out. I don't think it'll be super early October, but it could be early mid if it falls down into this trading channel. And if it stays above, well, shoot. I mean, that would be your early October. So I think best case, early October, late September is when this breaks above. It's its previous all time high. Not even saying this all time high, because when it breaks this one, it'll probably fly past that local high. So previous all time high breakage, I would say late September, early October at the earliest. But if it falls down into this trading channel, it won't happen until mid October, assuming Bitcoin stays strong, right? So Yep, that's what we got. So stop, drop, and try to hit like if you're returning. And if you were new and you ended up liking this, you haven't subscribed, hey, please take the time to go ahead and subscribe, because when you hit the bell and everything, you'll see these very frequent updates, and it'll keep you in the know on when to and what to do roughly with your Pokemon cards with a statistical edge. Or you'll know that I don't have a statistical edge, so let me just let my Pokemon cards sit, and you can supplement the all the fundamental videos that you're watching out there, because I know y'all are watching them. So with that said, we'll see y'all next time, and thanks for liking the video and leaving me a comment.